Hi, Timmie.
Hi, Nancy.
Nice to meet you.
Great to meet you too. So, Nancy, why did you pick psychiatry?
Well, that's a really good question, Timmie. Well, as far as I remember, since med school, I've always been interested in human psychology, and I think it goes back before that, like in secondary school, I've always been interested in like psychological shows and psychological books and human mind and how people interact with each other, and I always had this curiosity around it. But actually, after graduation, post-med school, I didn't do psychiatry right away. I did a completely different specialty, and I was a bit into the academic field. And I did masters in hematology, which is a completely different specialty, but still there was something not right. I didn't feel completely satisfied with my career or my personal satisfaction. And then I decided to apply for psychiatry and change specialty and see how that would go. And I got into psychiatry, and to be honest, I've never regretted it at all. Every day is such a joy, even with difficult days. I never get bored. I'm always looking forward to my work and going back to my placement or different placements, and it's been a very enjoyable experience for me so far.
That sounds really encouraging.
What level of training are you in right now, Timmie?
I am an ST4.
Okay, and what kind of subspecialty?
General adult.
Nice. And what made you choose general adult?
I just think there are so many interesting cases. There is a lot of acuity, and I love the fact that because it's general adult or working age adults, you have the opportunity to make quite a big difference in their lives early on, around the time of diagnosis.
Yeah, right. Actually, it's my preference for higher training as well to apply for general adult.
Great.
That's why I asked, and I wanted to know your insight about it. But I'm thinking of doing a dual training,
Okay.
general adult and psychotherapy, medical psychotherapy, or second option would be general adult and older adult.
Oh, okay. So what influenced your decisions and choices towards those two subspecialties?
Well, honestly, during core training, we did lots of placement, and I think that where I found myself was general adult. I enjoyed it the most, working inpatient or outpatient, and I'm doing home treatment team right now, and I really enjoy with seeing all the phenomenology and pathophysiology of conditions, and I'm fascinated by psychotherapy. So that's why I thought about doing a dual training. But I know that it's a bit of a competitive dual specialty, so my second option is general adult and older adult as well.
Great, sounds really good.
Yeah. How about you? What made you choose psychiatry?
Well, I suppose when I applied for medical school, I wanted to be a psychiatrist. I'm not sure why, I just always had it in my head that I wanted to do psychiatry. And I sort of saw that through med school, and then when I finally graduated and I'd done my foundation posts, I sort of forgot about psychiatry, I suppose. I'd really struggled with my mental health and depression when I was a foundation doctor, so doing psychiatry almost felt too close to home. So I distracted myself with other specialties. I was particularly interested in palliative care, and I eventually took up an emergency medicine training post. But the whole time I was doing my emergency medicine training for the 3 years, I just felt like it wasn't right. I always wanted to see the patients who came into A&E with mental health problems. I was particularly interested in the more biopsychosocial approach when thinking about the patients who had presented to A&E. And I found that when I was seeing those patients, it felt natural, it felt good. I actually felt like I was making the most difference. So then I applied for core training in psychiatry, and I haven't really looked back. What I really enjoy is the continuity of care and building quite a long-lasting professional relationship with your patients and their families. It's something that I found psychiatry is very special for. I've done a few other specialties and I've just never quite got that continuity that I love and which I see all the time in psychiatry.
So Timmie, I'm a mother myself, and I know that you're a mother too, and you took a break a couple of times before, and I just wondered, did you find yourself supported as much while it's on your break and while you returned back after your break finished?
Yes, absolutely. I have felt really supported during both my periods of parental leave. Both of those periods have been when I have been working within psychiatry. The first time was as an SAS doctor, and this time round is while I've been an ST4 in training. I have found that the School of Psychiatry and my colleagues have been very supportive about my return. They have kept in touch. I've found they understand the challenges of parenthood, of motherhood, of taking time out to nurture tiny little people. And that has been shown to me every single day by how supportive all of my colleagues are. I have had a really difficult maternity leave, I suppose, this time round, and I've suffered a lot with postnatal depression and anxiety, but I have kept in touch with my supervisors and my colleagues, and they have essentially welcomed me back and encouraged me to take things at a pace that works for me, and that has definitely reduced my anxieties about returning to work after over a year of being out of training.
Well, you did reduce my anxiety around that subject too. Thank you. That's really reassuring for me as someone who's really considering doing the same in the near future. So thank you for sharing that.
Great.
So where are you working right now?
So I'm currently on maternity leave, but when I return to work in the next couple of months, I will be on an inpatient unit. It will actually be the psychiatric intensive care unit in the Northwest.
Right. Are you looking forward to that?
Yes, I am.
Have you done any intensive care units during core training?
I wouldn't say I've had a rotation in PICU specifically, but I have covered PICU on several occasions, and it's definitely very interesting.
Yeah, indeed it is. I didn't get the chance to do a PICU. I've done inpatient ward, and I'm doing home treatment team right now. But I think, yeah, doing a general adult, I think doing a PICU is a really important and essential part of the training.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Nancy, how about you? Where are you working right now?
I work at Worcestershire Trust, and I'm a CT3, just starting in August, so this is my second week. And my current post is home treatment team, and I only have one post left. After the 6 months would be perinatal, and then I'll be finishing my core training. And then I'll be thinking about whether to go straight into higher training or take a break for a bit.
Sounds great. What other jobs have you done?
Well, I've done general adult inpatient and outpatient community, and I've done CAMS and older adult, both community, and this one, the home treatment team.
So that's quite a good variation of jobs.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I think I get really good flavor of different specialties and how they work and operate.
And you were talking about wanting to do general adult psychiatry.
Yeah.
What are your reasons for choosing that specialty?
I think during different rotations, this is the rotation I feel like I can do most, and I really enjoyed working with the working adult group and seeing all the pathophysiology and phenomenology of the conditions. And I feel like this is where I could do my best and be at my best abilities. Timmie, I'm thinking of taking a break after my core training. because I've been working so far as a full-time trainee, and I have two little children that I care for, and I feel like sometimes that I'm a bit stretched, especially with exams and meeting training requirements and ARCP and all that. So I know that you've been on a break yourself, so I wonder what kind of support is available for trainee or for myself if I decided to go on a break.
So I am currently training in the Northwest, and we have a really good program for trainees who need to take time out of training for whatever reason, whether that be parental leave or wanting to pursue other interests. And basically that program ensures that before we go on our leave, we get to meet with our supervisors and we get to plan our leave with our supervisors and the School of Psychiatry to ensure that when we are on leave, we don't get lost, that we've got a single point of contact and that we're kept in the loop about what's going on within the School of Psychiatry. I have found this program really, really helpful while I've been off. They offer things such as drop-in cafes where on Zoom or in person you can meet with other trainees who are currently out of training. They offer teaching sessions. They offer specific simulations and courses to help you get back into training. And these are available to everyone throughout their time out.
All right. Some of the advices I heard from consultants or higher trainee when I say that I want to take a break is that not to take a long break, because if you get relaxed out of training, it might be a bit hard to get back into training. So Timmie, I wonder, how would you recommend I stay connected in a manageable way that also allows me to protect my break?
There are a few ways I reckon you could stay connected. The first way would be with your educational supervisor or the person who manages trainees who are out of training, and check-in emails are quite helpful. Outlining your plans for your leave as soon as you're aware of them and discussing that with your supervisor is helpful. The college offers plenty of courses and conferences throughout the academic year, which you can attend in person or attend online. What's great about psychiatry is that teaching and training is a really big thing. So you could always continue to attend the teaching sessions within core training or within higher training as and when you see fit while you're on leave. I found that psychiatry as a specialty has been very welcoming in terms of meeting me where I am while I'm on my leave and letting me do as little or as much keeping in touch as I want.
Timmie, what were some of the experiences or insights you gained during your time away from the field?
I've had quite a lot of time off over the years. Before I decided to do core training, I was actually doing acute care STEM emergency medicine. And I found that while I was on that specialty and I was working in A&E, all I wanted to do was see the mental health patients who no one else seemed to want to see. And at that moment, I realised that psychiatry was probably the specialty for me. And I took some time out just to think about my options. I withdrew from emergency medicine and applied for psychiatry. I really enjoyed my first year, my CT1, but unfortunately I had a snowboarding accident and I broke my wrist. So I was off for a few months. In that time, I was really concerned about what it was going to be like going back to work, but it was absolutely fine. My host organisation were really supportive, and when I did finally go back to work, I was phased in. And then I have also been on 2 lots of maternity leave, and within both of those maternity leave periods, I have remained well supported by the School of Psychiatry, by my host organisation, and by my colleagues and peers.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I'm a bit curious, Timmie, about how did taking a break impact on your personal well-being as well as your perspective on your professional life?
It was nice to have a break, especially when you're working in very acute settings and perhaps when you've been working in the NHS for so long. I suppose by the time I took my first maternity leave, I had been in the NHS for over 10 years. And the maternity leave came at the right time because I felt I was perhaps starting to get a bit tired, a bit disillusioned, a bit unsure of what I really wanted to do. I found that having time out of training really cemented how much I actually really love psychiatry. I never thought I'd say it, but while I was off, I did find myself missing work. I did find myself longing to see patients again and to be part of a team. And that came at a point in my life which was perfect timing because I was starting to become unsure of what I wanted to do or how I wanted the future to look in terms of my professional life. So I would say the time off gave me a break, made me feel better, made me feel more positive, and it definitely cemented just how much I love psychiatry.
That's very insightful, thank you. So what advice would you give other psychiatrists thinking of taking a break for personal reasons?
I would say go for it. The thing with psychiatry and the NHS is that we're always going to be needed, and I find that psychiatry in particular really welcomes you back with open arms. I would say just be open about your concerns from the beginning or any reservations that you have while you're on your leave or about your leave in general. There will always be a first point of call for you or someone to stay in contact with before you go on leave, while you're on leave, and when you're back.
Well, that really resonates with me because I really love my job and I feel like I get satisfaction and reward from it. But at the same time, when I think about taking a break, I feel a bit worried about what would that entail. And I have some concerns about how long the break should be, or about getting back to training, or about how should I keep my professional development continues. And knowing that all support and your journey and how you find it very helpful and insightful, that really gives me reassurance. So what prompted you to return to psychiatry, Timmie?
I have missed it, and I feel with psychiatry or working within psychiatry, it gives me a real sense of who I am, and I see changes every day in the patients' families that we work with. I just think there's so much joy, there's so much potential to make a difference, and I think working in psychiatry finally makes me believe, yeah, okay, I was supposed to be a medic and this is what it's about.
Yeah, I think we can really see that we're making a difference at some level. And it's not only on an individual level, you can see it on families, on the loved ones of the patients or anyone. And the fact that you get to help different people at different stages of their lives, children, adults, old age people, that's really rewarding. So I wonder what options are there for someone who decided to take a break for a while out of training based on your experience?
Between core training and higher training, I actually took a break. I think it ended up being about 9 months in total. The reason I took that break was because I wasn't sure which subspecialty I wanted to apply for higher training. So I was really lucky to have the opportunity to find areas that I was interested in and see what posts were available. and I came across a post within the crisis resolution and home treatment team, which was an area I was specifically interested in. I felt I needed to experience more acuity within the community. I'd had a few inpatient jobs and didn't quite grasp fully how inpatient and community had the interface and how they worked together to keep people out of hospital or keep people as well as they can be. It was a fantastic post. I learned a lot. It again made me realise how much I like general adult psychiatry or psychiatry of working age adults. I had really good support during that post, so I still had my supervision every week. There was still plenty of training opportunities available for me, plenty of teaching opportunities, and I kept a different portfolio of all the things I had learned during that time. And when I did go back into training, and even at my higher training interview, it was something that I could talk about in terms of how much I'd learned, the experiences I'd gained, and how what I'd learned would help me in my higher training.
Well, I'm really glad that you said that, because that's really interesting for me, because that's what I'm thinking of doing. I'm thinking of becoming an SAS doctor for a while. So what are your thoughts about that?
I think it's great. Being an SAS doctor gives you the chance to explore other subspecialties, other areas you might be interested in, and you can tailor your post to your particular learning objectives for personal and professional development, which may not necessarily be captured by the core curriculum or the higher training curriculum.
Well, that's really interesting to me. So for me, in my final year of core training, I'm really considering taking a break between applying for higher training. And I really want to slow down a bit, make sure of my choices for higher training. And do you have any advice for me how to best handle this?
Quite a few people have done it. I've done it. So I would say speak to your colleagues, speak to your consultants, try and get as much information about taking time out as you can. Maybe try and get a feel from your colleagues and supervisors about the pros and the cons.
When you worked as an SAS doctor, did you get a chance to choose whether to work full-time or part-time? Was that an option for you?
I did get a chance to choose whether to work full-time or part-time. At that point, I opted for full-time, and that worked well for me. But I'm currently in ST4 training, but I am part-time, and I think it just suits my family and suits my work-life balance, as well as my other interests out of psychiatry.